Hi, this is Rufus Philpot. I play bass for a bunch of different bands out here in Los Angeles, and before that I was in New York City, and before that I lived in London. Out here right now, some of the current projects I'm involved in would include Virgil Donati's band, Planet X, which is a pretty extreme progressive rock, metal, jazz band. As well as that, while I lived in New York, I was involved in the session scene there. I toured quite a lot too. As for touring work, I've toured with Randy Brecker. We've headlined some festivals in South America, which was great, play Randy. And with Down to the Bone, I've toured all over the United States of America too. I end up doing a lot of different types of sessions. As a bass player, I think you're automatically in a position where you can more readily be thrown into very disparate musical situations, you know, from a rock thing to a jazz thing to funk to punk to whatever. One of the interesting things about playing the bass is the fact that there's so many different sounds you can get out of the instrument. I think the better players out there, they may have a signature sound, but they're very adaptable to stuff. One of the great things is, you know, with this kind of idea is, you know, being able to get different sounds if you're in a studio and a producer asks you for a certain vibe, a certain bass playing reference. So for instance, one of my favorite kind of old school reference bass players would be Paul Jackson with the Headhunters, Herbie Hancock's band from the 70s. And he had this kind of classic old school P-bass sound, and kind of a little raw. He certainly wasn't like the tidiest player, but he was one of the funkiest guys out there. So like an old bass sound of Paul's would be, for instance, this. So there you can see like there's that classic kind of old school vibe to it. Now, imagine if you're doing a session and someone's like, okay, I want to reinterpret this tune. And I had one actually just the other day with Billy, one of the guys who runs Session Pros, and we were doing an old Brecker Brothers tune, Skunk Funk, and client wanted the track reinterpreted a little bit by me. So I put a more modern spin on it. So if you look at that bass line I played just now, I'm aiming for a really greasy kind of feel. I'm kind of hitting the strings a little harder. I want that kind of greasiness to it. But if someone comes to you and says, okay, I like that, but let's do something different with it, well, maybe we'll go back and have more of that back pickup, the sound I used on that other session I was talking about, the North African one. So it's going to be a little more precise now. So check it out, see the difference. And so on. You can hear there's a world of difference in the sound and the note length. This is Rufus Philpot saying thanks for stopping by sessionpros.com, and see you again soon, maybe out on the road.